A new year, a new art series. It's the Rosa Gallery Watercolor Journal, and this is the first session. Hi, I'm Irene. This is Inkworks, and since I thoroughly enjoyed the previous watercolor series, I'm going with the same brand of sketchbook. This is the Be Creative Wire-Bound Watercolor Art Journal from the Be Paper Company. The dimensions are 5.5 by 8 inches, and the paper is 100% cotton cold-pressed, 140-pound weight. That was kind of a dry introduction, so I'll add a touch of flavor by sharing what I'm wetting my whistle with. A mug of coffee with non-dairy creamer and Torani's pumpkin pie syrup. The Rosa Gallery brand is pretty new to me. Before this session, I had only swatched the paints onto inserts to go inside the palettes. I have 2 sets, but the one I'm using for this series is called the monopigmented set. That just means each of the colors is made with a single pigment rather than multiple ones. I like to play with single pigment colors for mixing exercises like this because it simplifies things. And if there's one word to describe what goes on here at Inkworks, it's simple. For example, to further simplify things, I'm going in the order the pans are placed in the palette. Thus, today's featured color is titanium white. Not the most thrilling shade, I know, especially since the previous watercolor series ended with Chinese white. But I believe you'll be delighted with the mixing results and the painting to come later in the video. If you've watched any of my Magello Journal videos, the layout used here likely looks similar but different. The box in the top left holds the main swatch. For this titanium white, I used a waterproof black pen to show opacity. But in future spreads, I want to use layering to show several levels of saturation: heavy, medium, and light. The top right box holds information like color name, pigment code, whether the color is opaque, transparent, or somewhere in between, and the level of light fastness. I understand this brand uses a 3-star scale. They also use N to designate natural pigments and G to designate granulating ones. I originally heard about Rosa Gallery watercolors through other art tubers. Normally, I prefer tubes over pans, but the fact that this is a Ukrainian brand intrigued me. Plus, the positive reviews and budget-friendly pricing made me want to try them myself. So far, I'm pleased and consider these Rosa Gallery watercolors a good purchase. Trying out new products or brands can be iffy, and I'll relate a recent relevant experience. But first, have you ever been told what for by a kid? That's an exaggeration. Let me rephrase. Have you ever been dressed down by someone half your age? It's a surreal experience. Look, I rarely return a purchase. More often than not, the stressful human interaction isn't worth it. I'd rather eat the loss. So I don't know what the proper procedures are for every store, but when I bought a set of markers that bled through my journal pages, I had to bring them back for non-bleeding ones. Unfortunately, what I wanted wasn't currently on sale. I'd have to pay full price. So after finding it on their website where it was on sale, I ordered it for pickup at that location, then made my way to the checkout where I was told it takes an hour. We don't usually do this, but I'll make an exception. Whereupon the associate did some electronic magic. I said, "Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am," and left the store with my sweaty hands clutching a fabulous bargain, wondering what just happened. Credit where credit is due. The Michael's Craft Store crew took care of me well and efficiently. It's not their fault I'm a desocialized hermit. By the way, the markers I returned were a set of Faber-Castell sketch markers. I think if I were using heavier paper, they would have been fine. But the paper in my reading journal is 120 GSM, or 80-pound weight. In my experience, Tombo's dual brush pens work great on that paper. So that's what I went with. Last night, I fixed tacos for dinner. Although I have my own way of preparing them, I still get flashbacks to my mom's pot tacos from childhood. So called because she mixed everything together in one pot: browned ground beef, green onions, diced tomatoes, taco sauce, cheese, and, yes, even the iceberg lettuce. We'd scoop the filling onto a large flour tortilla and wrap it up like a burrito in a pointless effort to contain the drippage. Yeah, there was no avoiding the orange grease trailing down to our elbows. I say ours because I was one of 8 children, so I don't blame Mom for taking shortcuts where she could. Sure, the lettuce was wilted all the heck from the other hot ingredients, but that was part of the charm. That and the fact just one of those things, our little hands desperately trying to hold it all together, was enough to fill our tummies. I've toyed with the idea of opening an eatery where that is the only item served. You'd hold out your 12-inch tortilla on a plate. I'd plop a heaping scoop of filling onto it. You'd flinch and squint from spicy meat juice spattering in your eye. Then you'd sit and enjoy the classic Mom's Pot Tacos experience, while hunched over the plate, soiling 8 to 12 napkins, and washing it all down with room-temperature Kool-Aid. Hey, it beat Van Camp's canned pork and beans with sliced wieners night. I'm just gonna say it. Pastel colors make me think of underwear, specifically underpants. Last year, I bought a couple of multi-packs from Costco. Pinks, blues, purples. My supplemented panty stash means I can now go for more than 2 weeks before having to do laundry. But I have a question. Why don't those panty packs come in Eddie Bauer colors? I'd much rather wear hunter green, maroon, and mustard yellow. It would make me feel like an outdoorsy person, tromping through woods with a backpack, instead of one who gets frequent screen fatigue and rarely leaves the house. Wait, does collecting mail from the mailbox count as going out? Those Viking cruise flyers feed my travel dreams, after all. As a young adult, I watched Rick Steves' travel show on PBS, then later Samantha Brown's Great Hotels on the Travel Channel. These days, I watch TravelTube for RV, train, and cruise ship adventures. Virtual or armchair traveling does have its cons and pros. On the one hand, it isn't conducive to collecting postcards. On the other hand, it's a whole lot cheaper than actual traveling. As I'm writing this voiceover, it's 6 hours until Blizzard drops a bunch of changes and new features for World of Warcraft. It's an exciting time because there are few things I enjoy more than going on an MMORPG, aka massively multiplayer online role-playing game, to play by myself. One of these days, I really need to mute guild invites so I can stop telling people, "Don't talk to me. I'm shy." After years away, what brought me back to WoW was housing. That's right, you can build and decorate your own house on your own plot of land in your own neighborhood. As someone who only bought The Sims 4 to design houses, WoW housing is a dream come true. Or it will be once they make the decor items interactable. That will be coming, I hope. The point is, I thought I'd try to be productive and knock out this video while I'm waiting for solo multiplayer gaming fun. Normally, I like to do nothing after a do-something day, which yesterday was. Yesterday, I was on fire. A load of laundry, because one can wear a soup-stained top only so many times. A load of dishes, a batch of blueberry compote, a reading journal spread, and tacos for dinner. I'm still wired today, and all I've had was some of yesterday's cold coffee. The color mixing resulted in many lovely pastel shades. They almost look like confectionery colors, something like bonbons or macarons. Ooh, those conversation hearts. You know, the ones that say, "Be mine." To be honest, I think conversation hearts taste like chalk. If my sweets must be pastel, I'd be fine with a simple bag of buttermints. Wait a minute. Back to my unusual energy these last couple of days. I have been adding Torani's pumpkin pie syrup to my coffee. It's delicious, by the way. Care of my BFF who works for World Market. Apparently, they have a sweet employee discount, even on top of clearance items. Anyway, she said she paid less than $1 for each 750 milliliter bottle. I get that some people might not want to know how little a friend spent on them, but I'm not that person. The better the bargain, the more I'm thrilled. Heck, she could have said, "I pulled these from the dumpster behind the store. Want?" And I would have been all, "For me, you're the best." I'm toying with the idea of doing loose, sketchy florals for all of the spreads in this sketchbook. What do you think? Too boring? You can tell it to me straight. This is a gal who would drink dumpster syrup, after all. Artistic inspiration has been lacking in my life lately, and I guess sticking with florals for this project would simplify things by removing that decision-making process. This particular painting technique is called line and wash. I used a fine liner to sketch the design in ink, then added loose strokes of color. The blue strips are just low-tack painter's tape, very useful for creating clean edges. Although I didn't record the design layout or line work processes, I actually put a lot of thought into this, and I think it works. Hopefully, this system will work as well for the entire series. The painting turned out okay, good enough for sketchbook work. I'm not going to make a broad, sweeping judgment regarding the quality of Rosa Gallery's watercolors at this point. I wouldn't do that to any brand based on white of all things. At this point, I've no complaints. I'll even go so far as to say, setting aside the questionable composition and technique, the colors are the most attractive aspect. In this session, I used several of Princeton's Aqua Elite synthetic Kolinsky sable brushes. They are some of my favorites, after all. Even when I'm not painting, I enjoy just rolling them in my hands and listening to the clacking sounds. Doesn't everyone? I'm happy to share this watercolor session with you. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, remember to kiss. Keep it sweet and simple. And stay artsy, my friends.